Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah, and I want to welcome you to True Texas History. Today, I'm posing the question, does Caldwell County still care about veterans? I say this because the county is about to vote on whether or not to keep the Confederate monument there by this county seat, county courthouse. Now, Caldwell County made some major contributions in terms of people volunteering to go ahead and fight in a war between the states. People from Caldwell County were a part of, they volunteered to be part of the 17th Texas Infantry, the 2nd Texas Cavalry, the 26th Texas Cavalry, which was DeBray's regiment, 36th Texas Cavalry, the 12th Texas Infantry. I mean, they came out, when the call for volunteers went out, they delivered. Caldwell County answered the call in a way that a lot of other counties didn't. I mean, the 2nd Texas Cavalry, one of their distinctions was that they won the Battle of Palmetto, which was the last land battle fought in the war. Now, DeBray's, the 26th Texas Cavalry, they protected the Texas coast during a large part of the war. I mean, nowadays, we don't think much about it, but back then, you had the Yankee gunboats going up and down the coast, and they were sending in raiding parties, burning farms and stealing from people. And it was DeBray's that protected the coast. I mean, places like Houston and Victoria and so forth, they ought to be thanking Caldwell County for sending men that protected their homes while they were away at war. Now, Xavier DeBray, he was a Frenchman trained at St. Cyr, and he was known for drilling his men. And one of the things that they would do, he would have them in uniform, drilling back and forth and back and forth. And the locals loved coming out and watching him drill the men. I mean, the men didn't care much for the audience all the time. In fact, they called it the menagerie, because anytime they were out drilling, the public would come and want to watch them because they became so proficient at it. And then there was the 36th and 12th Infantry. Now, they fought in the Red River Campaign, a lot of battles in Louisiana that, we don't appreciate what all happened there in Louisiana, but the 36th was also known as Wood's Regiment. And the thing is, Colonel Woods, one of the things that distinguished him was that he made it a point of teaching all of the surgeons in his regiment how to apply tourniquets. He believed that just because you were wounded in the arm or whatever, you don't have to immediately amputate and cut it off. Through the use of tourniquets, lives could be saved and limbs could be saved. At least that's what he believed. And that ended up being the case, because in one battle, he found himself wounded, and it was what he taught the surgeons, they applied it to him, and it saved his own limb. I mean, when you have veterans from your county that do things like this, you ought to tip your hat to them, every time you go past it, rather than kowtowing to some local group griping and complaining about, oh, I don't like it, it offends me. Those men put their lives on the line. They protected the coast of Texas. They protected Texas itself by fighting in Louisiana, rather than letting war come to our counties and war come to our cities. I mean, unless you've been in a war zone, you don't appreciate or realize the massive destruction that happens. And, a lot of times these the critics, they want to paint with a broad brush. You know, this was an attitude of one of the men in one of these regiments. He says, to us, Texas was the nation. To her alone we owed allegiance. We were allied with the other southern states, not indissolubly joined. I mean, they want to hook us up with all these other states and whatever happened there. And many of these men went ahead and volunteered and joined because they wanted to protect Texas. But let's see if Caldwell cares about those type of men with that kind of attitude. Or are they going to sell out to the latest Johnny-come-lately that comes complaining and griping in their county? I love Lockhart. You know, great barbecue, great town, great county, great people. Let's see if they respect their veterans. Went ahead and wanted to share some of the history related to Caldwell County and the men from that county and things that they accomplished. I've got more to share later on some of the other counties, but I know that that's the latest county under fire. And I hope you enjoyed this short little vignette of history and what's going on in Caldwell County. And we'll talk again later. Until then, vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.